Okay, today we will do the letterbox. Now let's start. In a sleepy little village called Santa in Spain lived a very old priest. His cottage was near the church and right in the middle of a big orchard. Here the cherries ripened in May and the currants often earlier and in August. Usually you could not pass by without breathing the heavy scent of the melons. So this story is about a priest who lives in Santa. It is a city in Spain, and he has his cottage near the church, right in the middle of a big orchard. He has a orchard in his house also. Here the cherries ripened in May and currants often earlier in August. So by this we understand that this orchard has many trees, many fruit trees like cherries and currants and melons. There is also melons. So the boys and the girls of the village helped themselves to a big share of fruits from the orchard, but the biggest share was eaten by the birds, the blackbirds who lived there very comfortably all the year and sang in return the best they could. The pretty orioles who helped them in summer before flying far away, and the sparrows and the warbles of every variety. Every year they build their nests in the orchard in a greater numbers than anywhere else. The best places were quickly taken, the hollows in the trees, the holes in the walls, and even the space between the rafters of the roof. One day the priest's helper Maria burst into his room. So now let's understand this paragraph. So this garden is full of trees, fruit trees. The fruits are enjoyed by the little children. Not only the little children, actually the greater number, the maximum number of the fruits are enjoyed by the birds. Here we get mention of the names of many birds like blackbirds who eat the fruits and stays there and sing songs throughout the whole year. Apart from blackbird, we are getting the names of sparrows and warbles of every variety. Sparrows are one type of birds and warbles are another type of birds. So they are also there. Every year they build nests. That is also mentioned here. And the best places where they can make their nests, here the name of the best places are also mentioned, and which are the best places: the hollows in the trees, the holes in the walls, and even the space between the rafters of roof. So these are the best places. You can get questions, what are the best places for making their nests? So that will be your answer. Now coming to the main story. One day the priest's helper Maria burst into his room. So we have known that this is a story about a story is about a priest who lives in Santa. So the priest's helper Maria one day informs him, "You will not believe what they are doing," she cried. "Who, Maria?" "The birds," she said. "What are they doing?" "They are building a nest in your letterbox at the bottom of the garden." So now Maria hurriedly comes into his room and informs the priest that the birds are making nest into his letterbox. For Maria, this is a very peculiar thing, very dangerous thing. Maria cannot understand. Maria does not know that this is not a big matter. Everybody does this, and this is a very natural thing. But Maria could not understand this, and Maria now hastily comes to the priest and informs him about this. She replied, "I opened it to see if there were any letters for you. And what did I see? Bits of hay, paper, twigs, and wool." So she has found hay, paper, twigs, and wool. So these are the things that the birds that are carried in by the birds to make their nests. So when she opened the letter box, she saw these things. Now she informs the priest about these things. "They must be sparrows," he said, and began to laugh like a grandfather when he hears of a baby's prank. Now The priest understands this, and it for him it is very natural. Now he tries to make her understand that these birds must be parrots who are trying to build nests. They must be sparrows, he said, and began to laugh like a grandfather when he hears of a baby's pranks. He hurried off to look inside the letterbox. There he saw two busy brown parrots. They were building their nests. I know you, my little ones, smiled the priest. In a few days you will have 3 or 4 brown eggs. When the eggs hatch, you will need 3 weeks to bring up your family. All right, I will make sure no one disturbs you. The old priest carefully locked the letterbox and left instructions that it must not be disturbed. He even wrote to his friends asking him not to send him any letter for the next 3 weeks. If I leave the letterbox undisturbed, my little sparrows will be safe, he explained to Maria. Now he understands that the sparrows are trying to build nests in the letterbox, inside the letterbox, because they want to lay eggs and they will hatch it, and this whole process will take near about 3 weeks after the laying of the eggs. So this time they need to hatch the eggs and to have new babies. The priest understands this, and he tries to make Maria understand that this time should be given to the birds, to the couple of birds, and they are trying to make nests to lay eggs. He makes sure to make sure that the nests of them are remain undisturbed. He locks the letterbox and also sticks a note on it that no one should disturb it, and no one should drop any letter in this letterbox, so that they can get time, no one disturbs him in the whole process of their hatching of the eggs. And he explains this to Maria. So what happened? Now the letterbox is totally locked, and the birds are there to hatch their eggs, and they are making their nest, and they are doing whatever they want. After a few days only, the father sparrow flew in and out of the letterbox. Ah, thought the old priest, the mother sparrow is sitting on her eggs. So after a few days, he sees that only the father sparrow is going in and out, and he is bringing food for them, and only the father sparrow is going out, and he is only entering the mother sparrow. That means this mother sparrow is hatching the eggs. A few more days went by. The priest bent down and put his ears to the letterbox. They are chirping. He cried happily. The eggs have hatched. Now, the meaning of chirping is high, squeaky sounds made by baby birds. So, after a few days, when he hears, he tries to hear. He hears the chirping sound of the birds, of the newborn babies, and he cries happily. The eggs have hatched. That means the hatching process is already over. He had the heart of a child that had never grown old. Whose heart this we are talking about here? We are talking about the heart of the old priest. He is an old person, but he has a heart of a child, and he is very glad to see this. Now, while the old priest was listening to the birds in his letterbox, an important meeting was taking place in Barcelona. The archbishop and some priests were talking about the old priest of Santa. Now, what is archbishop? Uh, Archbishop is a very senior person to the church. Archbishop, under a single archbishop there are many bishops and priests. So in a country or in a region there are many priests and many bishops, and the leader of them is, the head of them is an archbishop. So it is a very renowned, very respected, very high position in Christian Catholic society. Now, when this all was happening, the Archbishop was holding a meeting in Barcelona. Barcelona is another city, a name of another city in Spain. So they were holding a meeting. The archbishop and some priests were talking about the old priests of Santa. Now they are talking about the old priest of Santa. This priest we are talking, we are reading the story of that priest. The priest in Santa is too old, said the archbishop. We should send a young priest there instead. So the archbishop proposes that the priest in Santa has become very old and we should replace him with a new priest. But the villagers love him, replied the priests. Let him work in the village for some more time. Now the other priests tell him that okay, you have decided this, but the thing is the villagers love him and he's a very loved person, so you should think over your decision again. And you should consider he's staying there for a few more days. The archbishop thought hard. At last he said, I know what to do. I will set him a test to find out if he is too old. I'll ask him to come to see me in 3 days. If he comes, I will let him stay in Santa. If he does not come, I will send a new young priest to Santa. Now the archbishop decides that he will call uh, the priest of Santa, and if he comes, then he will let him serve the village so for some more days. But if he does not come, he will replace him with a new and young priest. The archbishop picked up his pen and started to write a letter. The next day, this postman dropped the archbishop's letter into the old priest's letter box. It fell to the bottom of the box and lay beside the nest. No one saw the postman, who came to the bottom of the garden and put the letter in the box. So no one opened the letter box because they did not want to disturb the sparrows. Now the next day, this postman comes and he enters the garden from the back door because the letter box was behind the garden, and he enters and drops the letter in the letter box, which directly goes in the bottom of the letter box by the side of the nest. And no one also saw the postman coming and dropping the letter. No one did see him at all. And he drops the letter and it goes to the bottom of the letter box. And we already know that no one was disturbing it. The letter box was totally locked and no one was disturbing the letter box for quite a few days. For 3 weeks, the mother sparrow and father sparrow carried food in and out of the letter box. The baby sparrows chirped, twittered, and staggered on their little feet, with their beaks open up to their eyes, waiting for food, eating it, and then demanding some more. Then, one by one, they tumbled out of their nest, peeped through the slit of the letter box, and flew out. The priest, who was present at the pleasant garden party, counted 4 baby sparrows. After 3 weeks, we see the mother and the father sparrow carrying in food, and the baby sparrows are chirping. They are staggering. Staggering means walking unsteadily. They are newborn, so they are walking unsteadily. And after a few more time, they stands they stand on their feet, and they after at the at after so after some more days, they fly out. Then the priest counts that they are total 4 in number. So they are 4 in number in total. The priest noticed this when he was at his garden party. The next morning, the priest went to the letter box at the bottom of his garden. Tock tock, he knocked. There was no sound. He opened the box. There were no birds inside, but a long white envelope fell out into the grass. The priest opened the letter. So everything has happened. The birds have flown out, and now the priest has opened the letter box, and he finds that no bird is there, though long envelope is there already lying there. This came 3 weeks ago. He sighed, but I did not open. The Archbishop asked me to see him in 3 days. I have failed his test. Now he will send me away from Santa. A tear came into his eyes. Now he realizes that this letter was sent to him 3 years earlier. Sorry, 3 weeks earlier, and the archbishop demanded him to be present in front of him, but he did not notice the letter and he could not comply with his orders. So now he have to go. He will be removed from his place, and a replacement young prince will be sent at his place. But he was very sorry. He looked up and saw the sparrow family. They were sitting in a tree just above the letterbox, singing happily. He now looks at the birds which he helped. Now they are singing very happily with their 4 children. Ah, well, he smiled sadly. I must leave Santa, but at least I helped you to bring your children. Now the priest becomes very satisfied that though he could not comply with the orders of the archbishop, which is a very renowned post, but though he could not comply with his orders, he had been able to help the birds to bring new 4 lives in the world. So he is very happy with that, and he is very contented with that. So that is the end of the story.